Hello and welcome to the Going Famous Media podcast. I'm your host, Zachary Mavrakis, and joining me today is Loudoun United FC midfielder Isaiah Johnston. How are you doing today?
I'm good, my man. How are you? Good?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Let's get into
Good.
this. You came through League One Ontario system with the Woodbridge Strikers, completing an exceptional 3 seasons there, and ultimately being drafted to York United FC, where we had the pleasure to cross paths. Could you tell us what significance League One has to Canadians aspiring to become a pro baller?
Yeah, so I actually think I was talking about this recently. I think League One is great, especially for young players. I mean, when you're 15, 16, 17, but maybe you're not in a TFC setup or a Whitecap setup or with Impact, one of those three big clubs, or now what we have is the York United Academy. Maybe you're not there. I think League One provides a great platform for you to play with some top level college guys. I mean, a lot of guys go D1 and then come back and play summer ball in League One. There's guys that are ex-pros that are just trying to stay in and around the game that are 28, 29, 30. And I think if you're in that age range of 15 to 18, or maybe you went to school and, didn't necessarily get the opportunity from school, I think League One plays such a pivotal role in giving you another opportunity to play some real minutes, to play some good opposition. I mean, think of some of the names that have played in League One. You have Alistair Johnston, you have Ryan Raposo. There's so many guys that have played in League One that are going on to do great things in their career. So I think League One is very crucial for, young guys to get minutes that aren't in academy, and then maybe guys that got looked over because they didn't bloom or hit, kind of that pro level until maybe they were 20, 21, 22. So.
Right, absolutely. And it played a crucial role into your draft, and you completed 3 seasons with York United as well, scoring 3 goals. Which one was the most memorable and why?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I think between my first ever professional goal, it was in the bubble in 2021. It was against Edmonton, and I just think it was a super good goal. I mean, it comes to me about shin height, and instead of using the inside of my foot or laces, I kind of used the outside of my foot and redirected into the corner, and that was just a special goal because it was my first professional goal. And then I think another big goal, and for me, was against Vancouver Whitecaps. I mean,
absolutely.
We played 2 MLS teams the first year. We have a tough defeat against TFC at home, 4-0. And then we go to Whitecaps and we show that we can play, and we're in the game, I guess, for a majority of the game. And to score that goal, that gives us a chance to fight. I mean, I had family that I hadn't seen for years in the crowd. It was at BC Place, a beautiful stadium in front of about 13,000 fans. I think that's the biggest crowd I've ever played in. So it was just a surreal goal, kind of growing up watching the MLS, watching the Whitecaps, watching TFC, and being able to score there. So.
Absolutely. Each had a different meaning and a different atmosphere, that's for sure. And
Yes.
Making the move to MLS Next Pro side, Huntsville City FC, must have been a massive change, moving to a new country and adapting to being away from home and your family. What was this experience like, and how has it impacted your career?
So yeah, I think my experience in Huntsville, I would say, is very up and down, I guess. I went over there as the first ever signing in club history, which obviously is massive for me, and I take great pride in that. Have a good preseason, and then towards the end of preseason, I get sick, very sick for about 6 days. I miss about 5-6 days of training. And for anyone that plays knows, missing a week off of doing nothing, it's not easy to get back into fitness. It's tough. So yeah, I had a slow start to preseason, didn't play much in my first 5 games, and then to be able to, captain the side. I mean, I think up until recently, I've captained the side the most in history, and may have changed now, but I think I was the club captain for the most amount of times in the short history of Huntsville. I trained with the first team, which was Nashville. I trained with them a lot. I was on the League's Cup roster for that. I mean, I had a lot of great moments there. And then in terms of off the field, I think it just helped me, like, I guess, mature a lot in terms of paying your own bills, in terms of rent, in terms of not having really the family aspect or someone directly to rely on if you have a bad day at training or a bad game. I mean, you're going home to yourself, really. So in terms of my mental discipline and that type of thing, I think that it played a huge role in my life.
Absolutely. It's definitely different FaceTiming and actually being there, right? And we live in a world now where thankfully we have technology such as Zoom or FaceTime to interact with family, especially now being away with Loudoun United. And how has that changed your play style or approach to the game evolving since moving from the CPL or even the MLS Next Pro League?
Um, so I would say in the CPL, I mean, I think I had a good 3 years in the CPL. First year was kind of tough. It was the bubble. But my 2021, 2022 season, I think I've had a very good run there. I hit the 50 appearance mark with York by the time I was 21. So I think, like, my experience there was great, but I just think I was still very raw in terms of the experience aspect of it, in terms of knowing where to position myself on and off the ball. I think also everyone probably knows this, but controlling my temper was a big thing that I had a problem with in terms of getting a lot of yellow cards and stuff like that.
Right.
Which I think that I've really been able to come a long way since being at York with that. And I think something that the MLS Next Pro really provided for me, and why I think it's such a good league for younger players, is it's really about development. CPL, you're worried about winning games. Of course, you want to develop young Canadian talent, but you're worried about winning games. At the end of the day, everybody wants a trophy. There's not everybody is a young talent in that league. There's a lot of guys that are experienced, a lot of guys that are in the back end of their career that are trying to push their career. Maybe they're 26, 27, trying to respark their career. And so a lot of it is about winning. And maybe you've had a bad game or you've regressed a little bit in 2-3 games, and we're not really focused on that because we got a result out of it. But in MLS Next, everything's recorded. You have coaches that are doing video with you every day, or after every game, or certain things like that. You have people that are on top of you a lot in that way. So I guess, it helped me clean up a lot of things. And then now being here at Loudoun, I've been able to combine a little bit, or I'm trying to combine a little bit of both, of a little bit of that kind of raw, I guess, burst onto the scene type of thing that I had in CPL, and then combine it with, the clarity and a little bit of the experience that I've gained over the years now, and bringing that into a team where, yes, it's about developing and getting better and trying to play at the highest level of football I can, but it's also about winning and trying to bring those little things that I've learned from the last 2 leagues here, and just putting it all together has been good.
Absolutely. And transitioning between each one, what could you give advice-wise for these athletes and up-and-coming ones, as you mentioned, to similar transitions as yourself?
Yeah, I think the basis to everything at every club that you go to is going to be quite the same. You have to be a good person. Off the field, it starts there. If your teammates don't like you, if you have a hard time with your teammates, if you have a tough time with staff, it's going to be tough to see the field. And then, of course, when you come into training every day, I feel like maybe people who are in their first, second year maybe take it a little bit for granted. I know, looking back on myself, I took it a little bit for granted, but to be able to come in every day and work hard and call yourself a professional athlete of any standard, any sport, it's not easy. There's a lot of things that go into it. they're not just handing out contracts. I mean, teams are vetting players that they're looking for. They are spending money on you, whether it's tens of thousands or whether it's hundreds of thousands or whether it's millions. I mean, it's still a big investment for teams. So just to treat every single day as I guess it's your last and give 100% and be a good person. I mean, you can take that into every aspect of life. But I think if you want to transition, if you want to progress in your career, and I'm still not where I want to be at in terms of the highest level yet, you have to come in and give 100% every day, bare minimum. You have to be coachable. And I think if you can take those basic things, or what seems basic, to every environment that you go to, I think the transitions will be a little bit more seamless. And I think it will happen. The transitions to stepping up will happen quicker.
Amazing. Now it's virtual reality. You have not featured in a video game just yet. Hopefully the USL Championship or maybe the CPL, if you return, will make a debut in it someday. So now you have the chance to create your own EAFC 25 Ultimate Team card. Have you played the game before?
Of course, of course.
Amazing. So I'm going to have you give a statistic from 1 to 99, and you're going to give it for pace, shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, and physical. So we're going to dive deep one by one, and you're going to give a realistic number. So for pace, your position's midfielder. How integral is pace in that position, and what number do you give yourself?
So I actually think as a midfielder, you actually don't need to be that quick. I mean, we've seen some of the best to ever do it. We're not that quick. I mean, Iniesta, Xavi, Zinedine Zidane. You know, some of these guys, they look like they can barely move, but technically gifted. So I actually don't think in where I play it's that important. Of course, you can use it on defensive recoveries and stuff, but I don't think it's that important. Saying that, I actually don't have any pace. I'm quick enough to get by, but I don't have that much pace. I don't think I've ever broken 8 meters per second. Or no, maybe I have. But I don't know if I've broken that high on the GPS data load. So maybe I'll give myself around 50. Nah, 55 is a center back. Maybe a 60.
60 pace? Okay. Okay, amazing. And shooting. So for a midfielder, there's box to box, there's more defensive. What would you say you are, and how do you interact and add shooting into your play style?
Yeah, so I would say that my most complete position and where I feel the most comfortable is a box to box midfielder. I have played the 10 and I have played the 6 before as well, but box to box is my preferred position. And I would actually say shooting is 60-40 to how important it is to, I think, a midfield position. I think, especially where I play box to box, you're going to get a lot of long range shots, or maybe you're joining in a little bit late from on top of the box. It's still a little bit of a longer finish from 18 yards out than, you know, a typical striker is going to get from the penalty spot closer. So I would say it's a decent part, because if you can be, I mean, we've seen it before with Frank Lampard. If you can be a midfielder that scores, if you can be a midfielder that scores goals as well as do the rest of the game, there's no price tag on what you could add to a team. But I would say that my finishing, I haven't scored that many goals in my career. I don't even know if I've broken the 10 mark. But my finishing is probably a little bit where my pace is at about 60. I'd say that.
Okay, amazing. And passing. Now, midfielders control the game. So this is a huge statistic and integral part to how you pace the game, how you finish the game, how you even start the game. So what would you give yourself that statistic?
Yeah, so I think my passing is probably one of my stronger attributes in terms of the ability to hit different types of passes. Maybe inside of the foot, curling, a driven long ball, maybe a grass cutter, driven pass that's a little bit lower, outside of the foot. I would say that my passing ability is probably somewhere closer to 75, 78.
Okay, amazing. Amazing. And now you mentioned you're a box to box midfielder. That's your mentality and that's your strong suit. Dribbling, how important is that for a box to box?
I actually think it's for a midfielder, dribbling is up there with passing. I think that a lot of midfielders get into predicaments just because, like you said, we control a lot of the game and a lot of the connection between the defense and the attacking line is us. So I think that in a lot of situations where a pass is unavailable or you're getting pressured quickly, you need to be able to use your dribble to get out of sticky situations and retain the ball. I feel like as a midfielder, one of your biggest attributes, if you want to go far, should be ball retention. Just making sure you don't lose the ball a lot, whether that's bad passes or getting it stolen. For me, I think my dribbling is probably a little bit lower than my passing, but still up there as in one of my stronger suits in terms of being on the drive. So I think I'd give myself around a 70, maybe 68, 70.
70?
Yeah,
All
68,
right.
70, around there.
All right, amazing. So now we've covered over the offensive side, more of the defensive. How integral is it as a box to box? We normally think they're running up and down, and that's what it is, right? And we play both sides of the game. Now, as you mentioned, you're more of a number 8, not a number 6. How different is that, and what is your defensive statistic?
Yeah, so I mean, I rotate between 6 and 8 quite often. I just prefer 8. But I think if you're a defensive midfielder or in the modern game, which they play with kind of 2 8s that are like 6s that sit beside each other, um, I think if you're gonna play in that position, I think winning winning duels, ball recoveries, um, winning aerial duels, I think that's probably why we get paid. Other than, I mean, the stuff to do right on the ball, I think that's the biggest thing: stopping counterattacks, preventing the counterattack before it even happens, doubling down on strikers when the ball comes into feet, that type of thing. And I want to say that would probably be doing the dirty work is probably also one of my, I would say what I do pretty well. So I'll probably be, I'll say 75.
75. Amazing. And now physical. You have to be quick on your feet as a midfielder, and you're controlling the game, as we said. And when that pressure comes and the opposition team is full pressing you, you have to be quick on your feet, physical. You can't just go down easy. What would you give yourself your as your statistic?
Yeah, I think like you hit all the points. Being physical is a good way to be retain the ball and super important. I would say physicality probably be 73.
73.
Yeah.
Amazing. And now with all these numbers combined, what do you think your overall score will be for your card?
Hmm. And with everything combined, I'll be around a 65 or 68, somewhere in there. Hopefully.
Amazing. Okay. Rapid round. This is where I'll ask you 10 questions and it'll be this or that. You'll need to choose one answer within a few seconds. Are you ready, Isaiah?
Ready.
All right. Skiing or hockey?
Hockey.
Soccer or basketball?
Soccer.
Okay. DeMar DeRozan or Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard.
Leo Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Messi.
Manchester City or United?
United.
Attacking minded or defensively minded?
Attacking minded.
Game winning goal or game winning block?
Game winning goal.
Number 8 or number 44?
44.
Swimming or fishing?
Fishing.
Canadian Premier League or USL Championship?
Ah. Uh, CPL. because that's where I started.
Thank you very much, Isaiah, for your time today. That has been the episode, and I appreciate your time so much.
No, of course. I appreciate you for having me, and I'm looking forward to seeing the episode come up.
Thank you.